You could literally see from the poster that I'm not lying. Mr. Bean did appear once in an Indonesian movie. Still not convinced yet? See? It is true, guys. So, is it a milestone on the Indonesian film industry? It actually is, as the movie Mr. Bean Possessed by DP is regarded to be the worst Indonesian film ever made. Several clips that I've shown you are actually already self-explanatory. It doesn't end there though, extending more outside to its interesting production story that really deserve the hate.
Buat saya, siapapun berhak mempunyai cara untuk mempopulerkan mereka punya film.
But just how a concept that is so trash could eventually be produced for the theaters? For information, the film itself was released in June 2012, a year after the critically acclaimed The Raid was released. It is what I consider to be a beacon of hope that inspires a lot of national filmmakers to make better movies. Yet eventually, some still haven't learned their lesson. To fulfill my curiosity on how this film could have been made, I decided to sacrifice my time and sanity, consuming 78 minutes of pain with another hours of face palms as I discovered a lot of what the fuck moments in its production stories. Digging all of the information with my bare hands, I think I'm ready to discuss my report to you guys on the worst Indonesian film ever made. Enjoy! Retelling this story all over again is a pain in the ass. But I don't want you guys to suffer like I did, so here we go. Anyway, mandatory spoiler alert. If you think this film is about Mr. Bean getting possessed, you will find yourself disappointed. Because the title literally had no connection with the storyline at all. Rather, this film's main focus is about a woman named Marnie, who is played by the title character, the actress DP or Dewi Persik. Despite being pregnant, she longed to see a live concert of a famous singer called Catwoman, also played by Dewi Persik in the most sensual way. Marnie's husband Parmin, or should I say, her customer, since her mother always asks for money as a payment for marrying her daughter, initially disagrees to fulfill Marnie's wish. It is not until his loyal pedicab customer tells him that
kalau ngidamnya nggak diturutin, nanti anak kamu bisa bisulan, Min.
Realizing he is wrong, Parmin forcefully drops his customer on the street and just leaves.
Ini saya terus gimana, Parmin?
And this is the start of the couple's journey to meet Catwoman, departing from their hometown Slawi to Jakarta with Parmin's pedicab, which, according to Google Maps, has a distance of 300 kilometers. Cycling a fucking pedicab for 300 kilometers! Anyway, in the most unsurprising direction, they were lost in the forest at the night time. What would be better to scare the audience than a psychopath with a chainsaw? Needless to say, in the stupidest fashion horror trope, they got killed. At least in other horror movies, the character tries to survive, damn it. Because of this, they are now reincarnated as a pocong, or simply said, a zombie wrapped in clothes. Although don't get it wrong here, because what the movie represents about pocong itself shows no respect to the cultural origins. Since they have become pocong now, they have to live in a pocong dormitory. Don't ask why this exists and how it works, this movie never bothered to explain it. What is clear is the place is ruled by the owner called Raja, serving the purpose on how to be a good pocong for God knows why. Oh, and they can't get out of the dormitory because it would create social unrest. Just when all hope seems lost, out of nowhere, Raja suddenly proposed this great idea to have all pocong participate in Pocong Olympics, and the winner will be awarded freedom to leave the dormitory. Again, don't ask me why. At this point, I'll regard myself as the stupid ones and Raja to be the most brilliant character in this film. I will skip the content of the game since it's actually a disgrace to call it an Olympics. But basically, the couple, with some other pocong, win, and they are free to travel, still in the form of pocong and heading toward the Catwoman concert. Arriving at the venue, we expected chaos. but nobody seemed to care about pocong wandering in water park. What they cared about was whether they have tickets or not, and they were denied entry for not possessing any. But there is one advantage of being dead, as the Catwoman manager mistook them as the pocong background dancer and granted them entry. Honestly, what kind of fucking concert is this? Both Parmin and the other pocong entered the stage, dancing the best they could. The concert was stopped by security, knowing they faked their role and were evicted from stage. Humiliating Parmin, Catwoman asked the crowd to calm down and start to tell a sad story that works as the greatest plot twist of all time to stir audience emotion. Because it turns out that Catwoman herself had lost one eye during her childhood. And guess who donated the eye? And then Parmin comes out to the stage again, hugging Catwoman, and all the crowd start to cheer Parmin, nominating him as a hero, and the film ends with a happy ending. But that isn't the whole 78 minutes, as the film has another 2 unrelated subplots that I can't find words to say, because it is very nonsensical and has no relation to support the main story. Literally, the film of a lifetime to experience. I could feel the sense of confusion from you guys watching this video, asking a very important question. Where is Mr. Bean? Trust me, I'm not clickbaiting you guys. But like the title has no connection to the film, Mr. Bean himself had never been an integral part to the story. The only thing that audience know about Mr. Bean is through this disgusting opening sequence.
Ingat janji pocong. 1, harus sehat. 2, harus kuat. 3.
Showing him as a pocong. And escaping the dormitory. You hear that, right? He is a pocong in this movie. That is the only vital information that audience need to know, because this is how he spent the rest of the movie. Feels familiar? It is exactly a lazy copycat of the original, integrated into the Indonesian setting and wasting all of his on-screen presence. The closest thing that Mr. Bean did contribute to the plot was when he himself became attracted to Marnie, copying the original antic flirting behavior that cringed people to death.
My name's Bean. What's yours?
This action itself made Parmin jealous, and they both confront their problems in an epic bajai race that could be compared with the classic band Her. Eventually, it doesn't matter because both are declared winner after Parmin's bajai and Mr. Bean bajai's wheel crosses the finish line together. Because of this, Mr. Bean gained his freedom and parted ways with Marnie and Parmin. And he started to make another lazy joke intercut with the main storyline. And the film cuts to another scene, never to be seen again. So why the hell does this film need Mr. Bean? Perhaps the filmmaker thought that combining the cultural jokes of our country with Mr. Bean could get us into having a good time. Or simply just get some more publicity. But what is found here is just uninspired gags that describe the film's quality, dominated by lazy slapstick, puns that are more deadly than dance joke,
Lagi kamu jadi juara, dikalungi mandolin. Ya ilah, medali. Iya medali. Mandolin mau ngamen.
as well as offensive, sexist comedy that Indonesians find it mentally painful than funny.
Well. Dah, diam.
And if you think that the movie has reached the pinnacle of the worst, it hasn't. Because there is a much more serious damage that this film does that will make your blood boils. Are you ready? I did show you guys in the beginning of how Mr. Bean really is in the film. Because obviously, Rowan Atkinson never got involved in this project, even though the producer, KKD Raj, claimed the opposite. 2 months before the film release, KKD Raj announced that he had brought Rowan Atkinson to be featured in this film, which initially made the public skeptical. But bringing a very legendary actor couldn't make the public more excited, especially when the cast itself, Debbie Persick, gives a testimony on how working with the actor was a pleasant experience. The media reporting this isn't to be the one fully blamed, with the primary source acting like all of this is true. Surprise, surprise, the public was disappointed with this fake act. Yet, in the most stupid move, the producer still insisted that he didn't commit any fraud to the public. It is not until the next day of the film's premiere where the real Mr. Bean announced in the post that he never did appear in the film. After this clarification, the producer then changed his statement that he admitted that he never had Robert Atkinson in the film, but he did bring Mr. Bean into the film.
Kita tidak pernah menyebut nama Rowan Atkinson. Karena saya juga nggak boleh menyebut nama. Kalau saya mau melakukan penipuan publik, saya akan menulis Rowan Atkinson di film saya dan di poster saya.
So who actually did play Mr. Bean? Some sources claim that it was played by an Anglo-Scottish actor William Ferguson. When I say some sources, it is because the character Mr. Bean himself didn't get any credit in the closing. Meaning that we don't even know if William Ferguson himself is the real person or not. But the madness didn't stop there. No license and permission are used for featuring the DC character Catwoman in these films. Songs claimed to be made by Catwoman in the performance are actually a Korean song. Debbie Persick herself is a popular singer, why just not use her song? The background music used in the film isn't even an original music, but rather soundtrack from various movies like Pirates of the Caribbean and Puss in Boots, which, surprise, doesn't get any acknowledgement in the credit. It made me really wonder how this film passed the censor board, and what is more notorious is how the producer still survived all of this despite opposition and legal issues from many parties. Due to the controversy it made, the film itself failed to reach break-even. Thank God. But most Indonesian audience know why this film is greenlit. Money. While Mr. Bean Possessed by DP stands out due to copyright problems, it is not one of the special ones in the late 2000s until early 2010s, where low-budget exploitation horror movies dominated the market. The Scream of Kuntilanak Virgin, Rape by Satan, Mountain Ghost has her period, Pocong Shower Rocking Hips, Virgin Ghost Girlfriend, and many more. You know this is a bullshit that this film could contain high quality. But the audience didn't care about the quality, which is proven from the box office number. Instead, what the audience sees is only from the clickbaity title. Does the title contain a horror element? Check. Does it have any sexual references? Check. When combined, does the title don't make sense? If it does not, then it must be a good time in theaters and audience don't mind losing the money for this trash. That is the pathetic mindset that the majority of the audience has during that time, which is the root of the dark history that Indonesian film industry possessed in the past. It is 1966, a new age for Indonesia, when General Suharto did a coup d'etat and became the second Indonesian president, marking the era of his dictatorship that led to heavy censorship in films. Political ideas and government criticism are strictly prohibited and could lead to imprisonment for filmmakers. Yet ironically, the censor board didn't mind gory and obscene visuals, as long as it does not contain any hidden meaning that could damage the government image. That is how exploitation movies rose in Indonesia, creating genre movies that reached their peak in the 1980s. Horror and comedy movies easily dominate the industry, while respectively being a country who believes in superstition, as well as how comedy is a way to unite people together. Looking at both genre representative, there is always one commonality that could be found in every movie. Woman. And their treatment is mostly never great. In horror movies, they are usually the antagonist, shown to be a ghost that haunts people's life, or at the very least, a weak character that becomes the ghost prey that got them killed. But their treatment got far worse in comedy movies, sold as a marketing subject that depicts them as innocent characters with tight costumes and sexually abused for comedic purposes. And this is not only the ethical issues that the film industry breached. Copyright protection laws are considerably very weak, and those loopholes are soon to be exploited by several filmmakers. Popular examples include the movie $6 Million Man and Chips that feature the legendary comedian group Warkop DKI. Claimed to be a satire film criticizing Indonesian society, the production company doesn't really seem to admit where the movie is inspired from, apparent from the film's credit that it doesn't acknowledge them. This got worse in the 1990s, where the government couldn't care less about the dying local industry, not realizing that their lenient import regulation causes Hollywood and Hong Kong movies dominating the theater. Television also became popular, and lots of audience thought that without spending any money, they could get the same content at home, even better considering the diminishing quality of local films. The only way to attract local audiences? Making hot, exploitative adult B movies that uses a very suggestive, clickbaity title like City Virgin, Passionate Second Night, Wrong Entry, Taboo Pleasure, What Libido, to name a few. It doesn't matter if the film's content and quality isn't as sexy compared to the naughty title, as long as the movie could make the audience horny by featuring the sensational actors doing obscene scenes for 1 to 2 minutes. Then it is a home run to guarantee profit return. This is how Mr. Bean Possessed by DP and other low-budget horror filmmakers spent the majority of their childhood. Jumping into 1998, the New Order era ended. Suharto resigned from his throne. The country had systemically changed into a more democratic country where free speech became more apparent, including in the area of films. But the shadow of the past still lingers in citizens' heart, including these young filmmakers who attempted to replicate the success of 80s and 90s exploitation films. Producers themselves see this chance to spice things up by not only exploiting local actresses on screen, but also using their money to invite foreign porn stars into their movies. The priority is to show these characters what they're good at, making the audience aroused whether through scenes such as tight costumes, showers, and even taking it far like abuse and rape. Obviously, the theater isn't the place for them to show the actress' full potential. And to cover it up, these filmmakers resorted to lazy filmmaking that reminisces the unique characteristics of past exploitation film. From the city title, horror elements, repetitive jokes about women and wordplay, uncreative camera angles, storyline that doesn't make sense at all, and trending content where producers do not care about copyright issues. Does it feel familiar to you? That is the sins of the film's industry past and impacted the young generation at those times, creating another worst time of the film's industry that should have gone better. Fortunately, that era has finally come down to an end, where local production has kept on increasing in terms of scale and quality, grabbing attention in international eyes, especially at film festivals. Perhaps the biggest achievement happened this year, when it received the spotlight in Busan International Film Festival, titled The Renaissance of Indonesian Cinema, showcasing movies that contributed to the industry growth, as well as new films that are predicted to lead the industry further down the line. If this achievement hasn't convinced you yet, I suggest that you look at my previous video, 30 Indonesian movies to watch before you die, and find some great recommendations there to refresh your perspective, especially the horror genre section, to make you realize that Indonesia itself has improved a lot in this genre with high quality effort and product. In fact, in my next video, we'll be discussing the film that changed Indonesian horror, becoming a blueprint for a lot of filmmakers on how to make great Indonesian horror movies. Thank you so much for being here until the end of the video. Leave a like, subscribe, and share with people if you think this video is educational. I'm seeing you all in the next video. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Sisiri butone.